My name is Randy Challey, and I have worked with people with mental illness for over 15 years. Most recently, I have worked with the homeless population and have learned how significantly mental illness can impact many areas of a person's life that can lead to and prolong homelessness. Homelessness is a global pandemic that we have seen a lot of in recent years. It's common perception when one sees a homeless person that they have put themselves in that situation and can just as easily get themselves out. People tend to think that they are lazy, need to get a job, are just looking for a handout, or are just looking to feed a drug or alcohol addiction. What most of us don't see are the risk factors that play a huge role in that person becoming homeless, and how accessing services to treat those risk factors is one of the biggest barriers. According to one research article by Lauren Curie, individuals experiencing homelessness are a heterogeneous population requiring varying levels of health and social supports. Discontinuity between services for people with complex needs like concurrent disorders, poor psychiatric follow-up, an absence of low-barrier treatment options, stigma, and discrimination each contribute to high levels of unmet need within this population. One study led by Carol Caton reported that 1 in 20 people with a severe mental illness experience homelessness, and that the homeless population have more psychiatric disorders than the general population, are more likely to abuse alcohol and or drugs, have higher symptom levels, and are less likely to follow prescribed treatment plans. Additionally, she reported that greater family disorganization in childhood, periods of running away from home, time spent in foster care or group homes, and physical abuse are associated with adult homelessness. Many people are afraid to even admit they have a mental illness and therefore do not seek help treating it. They may feel ashamed or worried that being labeled as a person with a mental illness puts them into a group that is considered inferior to others and will have long-lasting negative consequences regarding friends, family members, employers, and society in general. Not seeking treatment for mental illness usually only leads to more problems. The mentally ill person may completely lack or have very weak social skills, which affects their ability to communicate and engage with others, so they avoid social interactions, even with family and friends. Isolation only exacerbates their social awkwardness and symptoms associated with their mental illness. Those things can further cause the social supports a person once had to decrease or be eliminated altogether, because being around the mentally ill person becomes uncomfortable. People don't know how to respond to their constant negative thinking, or being in their life is simply too much work, leaving the person to try and navigate their mental illness completely on their own. Now imagine trying to deal with those things while being homeless. Imagine trying to deal with a mental illness that has pushed away your family and friends, led you to being kicked out of the only place you had to live, and trying to manage all of those symptoms while sleeping in a car, on a park bench, or at a shelter. Even when homeless people have access to services, they struggle with making it to appointments because they may not have found a place to charge their phone if they have a phone, so they have no alarm to wake them up for an appointment. They may not have a place to shower and are too embarrassed to show up to an appointment in the same unwashed clothes they were wearing last week. They may not have money to get to an appointment or to the pharmacy to pick up their medications. These are just some of the challenges faced by homeless people. Robert Cowson wrote a paper describing 15 years of research on homelessness and needs assessment studies. From those studies, he found that emergency food and shelter, income supports, safety concerns, long-term housing, and employment were among a core set of needs that affected all homeless individuals in the studies. So, why is all of this important? The homeless are a segment of society that isn't going away anytime soon. With current provider shortages, lack of housing options, the barriers homeless people face accessing services, and the daily struggle for shelter and food taking priority over mental health needs, homelessness will continue to be a persistent public mental health concern, and the community as a whole is suffering because of it. My hope is that next time you see a homeless person, you will see them with new eyes, and that gaining this knowledge will help you to better understand the complexities of homelessness and the prevalence of mental illness that population suffers from.